There you go.
We're on. We're live. What's going on, fascinating people? You're going to get more fascinating because when you watch this episode, you're suddenly going to feel so much smarter. Everybody else around you is going to be like, holy crap. You could probably start your own advertising agency strictly off this podcast. Seriously. No joke.
Giddy up. Let's go.
It's going to be so good. So...
Since I have no idea what we're talking about, I mean, I have a general idea.
Well, yeah, I mentioned this one time to you specifically, and I mean, we do. You know, you've heard me talk about it before. You know, we deal with this stuff for people, but in our agency. But I see on Facebook all the time. Of course, since I'm in the business world, I get Facebook ads for
business stuff
all the time. Right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes really good, But they're always, you know, because when you position something, you're always like, this is better than this. Particularly like if you do an opportunity switch, like a Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson style opportunity switch. And they'll be like, oh, ads are dead now. It's this new thing that you should be doing. Meanwhile, they're using ads to let you know about this.
Right.
But those ads are dead. Webinars are...
The irony is not lost on me.
Webinars are dead now. Come to my free webinar so I can show you why they're dead. Which is hilarious. But the point is there's so many people that have turned on ads or tried ads things, and they're like, oh, ads don't work. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's dumb. Ads always work, and it's always worked. That's the reason why ads are still a thing throughout the history of the world. Like ads work. The question is, it has a lot to do with the messaging. It has a lot to do with the positioning, but most of all, it has to do with the math. The math.
Okay.
2 questions.
Okay.
Just 2 questions.
All right.
I remember this was during COVID, in the middle of COVID. And I've mentioned this before, that we sold out an entire section of Serta mattresses for a little tiny town.
Oh, it's tiny.
Furniture store. And he was freaking out because he's like, how are we going to do this? He's like, because I came in at that moment. I was like, no, I'll help you survive. Don't worry. And of course, he's a great personality, great to work with anyway.
Oh,
so
yeah.
all that's important.
He definitely has great personality.
That's right. But so we were, I said, so he's like, okay, how are we going to advertise? What are we going to do? You know, I said, well, we need to create a campaign, but before we ever start the campaign, before we start talking about the language, before we start crafting the offer, before we do anything else, and this is where everybody gets in trouble. All these ads people, particularly, it's not the ads people's, ads people should know to ask the business people this.
They ought know better.
They ought know better. But the 2 questions that you need to ask yourself is in these section, and this is what I asked him. I said, first off, question. What item in your furniture store do you make the most money on? Like, what has the largest markup? Mm-hmm. What is discounted the least? Mm-hmm. So when one person walks in the door and they spend money and they are happy, when they go home with said item, what item? Is it recliners? Is it sofas? Is it bedroom suits? Is it mattress? What is it inside this showroom? Mm-hmm. And the second question is, what's the most popular item?
Okay.
And I actually asked him in the reverse, and I usually ask it in the reverse. What is the most popular? Now, why is the most popular important? Well, because that means people come in and get it. So he told me recliners. I said, great, maybe we'll advertise recliners. Maybe.
Right.
I said, now, that depends upon the second question, which I've already stated. What is the most expensive thing? Or not necessarily the most expensive thing, the most profitable.
Okay.
And he said, oh, that's easy, mattresses. I said, okay, now, let me ask you a question. On what spectrum does mattresses, if you were to take it line by line, most popular to least popular, things you sell the most to the things you sell the least, which one, if you rank them from greatest to least in popularity, where does mattresses fall? He said number 2. I said, we're selling mattresses. because mattresses was the most profitable
Right.
and
Second popular.
second most popular. And I said, well, and I dug further before we made that decision. Are we still rolling? It still says live.
I know, but it cut out. So I don't know where it cut out. That's unfortunate.
Okay, continue.
Anyways, so, right, obviously, best case scenario is make money on your front end offer as well as get them into subscription. However, it is still possible, right, especially with people that have a very high LTV. And LTV
Lifetime
is
value.
lifetime value of the customer, right? So we happen to have a very high LTV. And so for me,
Let's break that down for just a second.
Sure.
So just so everybody knows, so let's define some terms right quick. So LTV is lifetime value of a customer.
Correct.
So in the restaurant business, for example, when your first purchase might be maximum $30, for example, in the type of restaurant, like the average ticket value's $30 in the one that I was in at the time for the 10 years I was there. Now, for like a typical customer coming in that paid, and it wasn't just a single person, it was typically a couple that came in, and their bill would be about $25 to $30. Now, the lifetime value is a standard customer for a restaurant is about 3 years. So lifetime value of a customer is about in restaurants, if they become a regular, is about 3 years.
Okay.
So then if they come in once a week for 3 years, the lifetime value of the customer is 52. There's 52 weeks a year, so do 52 times 25 times 3 years. That would be the lifetime value of the customer. Now, there's much more advanced ways to do that today.
Sure.
But just for clarity, and then ACV is the average cart value. And I referenced that a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Average cart value is how much the ticket is.
Yeah.
So like sometimes in a restaurant, someone would be 100. Sometimes they'd be 25. Sometimes they'd be like 7.
Right.
If they just got a burger to go, that's it. Right. And so all those things averaged together is the average cart value.
Right.
And then there is
Basically,
CPA when you're dealing with ads.
correct.
Which
but
is
I was going to explain your
okay.
your average cart value in restaurant terms.
Oh.
Basically, if you do 100 transactions in a month,
correct.
you have 100 sales in the month. What was the average of those 100 sales
Per time.
per the 100?
Exactly.
Right. So
Per the 100.
correct.
And then you go to, and it doesn't have to be restaurants. This works for anything. You have a gym,
Correct.
right? And so you can find out what the average cart price is. Of course, it's going to be subscriptions.
Well,
averaged together.
So LTV is more important to me in my terms because it is subscription based.
Of course,
Right. So I care about average cart value on my front end offers that aren't necessarily subscription based.
For sure.
Right. So typically my average cart value is what I care about when I'm bringing a new person in because I'm comparing that to my ad cost. And so it becomes more important there, but I have wiggle room because I have high LTV for me.
Sorry, I just had an idea for your gym. We'll talk about
Great.
it later.
We can talk about that later. But you get what I'm saying,
Yes.
right? Obviously, if it's 2, 3, 4 to 1, my average cart value is 3 times higher than my cost to acquire a customer, then I'm winning, or my CPA.
Yeah, CPA, cost per acquisition.
Right.
So if you spend $100 to get a sale with ad spend, you're spending $100, you get one sale. If your take in on that is $50, then you are negative CPA $50 for that the
Correct.
acquiring of that customer. It costs you
Cost me $50
$50. Even though you spent $100, it costs you $50.
to acquire a customer.
Right, and then like an SLO, if anybody's ever watching this later, it's a self-liquidating offer. It's one where you're breaking even on the ad cost, and it brings in you acquire a new customer without spending any money. You spent the money, but they paid in that first visit or in that online offer that you paid for digitally. Then they now have you on their email list, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll likely purchase again something in the future because it's much easier. We've talked about this on previous episodes. It's much easier to sell a customer that's already been sold.
Correct.
Than it is to acquire a new customer. It's much more cost intensive to acquire a new customer.
Absolutely.
Period. Whether you're doing it organically or not, because organically you're having to build know, liking, and trust in order to do this. Zach is scared I'm going to knock over my water here.
Towards all of the electronics. And if anybody could see how close your hand was to said water as you're explaining your points,
all right,
they would also be nervous.
So now that we've established some 3-letter word definitions, right? Then
At least they're not scary
go
3-letter
back
words.
to your lifetime value and why the subscription service is so. Why what you were about to points you were about to make in regards to that.
So obviously, based on what we discussed, it's best to either break even. You don't want to lose money on advertising. No. It's not thrilling. However, in my case, I have the ability to lose money on advertising because I have a high LTV. So I know that if I can get a customer in the door and get them there for a month, that they typically stick for quite a long time in my business, right? And so I'm more okay with, like, I will run, for example, I will continue to run an ad that is performing less optimal than another business would, right? And so I have a higher capacity to test and to try things, because if I'm losing, as long as I'm acquiring customers to some degree, I'm still winning.
Yes.
Like the amount for me to lose is very high. So it's a benefit for me.
Yes. The trade-off is how many months it takes for you to recoup
100%.
your
absolutely.
initial ad spend.
Absolutely. Obviously, if that's negative, that's better. So
and you need good data to make a decision like that.
And I have good good math. I have good lifetime value data.
Yeah.
Right. And so from that perspective, it helps me, but it's not, obviously it's not optimal. Optimal is I double whatever money I put in. If I put $100 into ads, I make $300, because then I can continue to increase that ad budget.
Oh yeah.
And it can go much faster. Right.
Well, now
Mosey talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
With that. That's where the fuel of the fire is, because then your acquiring customers goes much, much faster.
Of course.
Right. When you're not making money, now I can still run ads, but I'm going to pull it back so that my budget doesn't get killed.
Of course.
But I can still run ads even at a loss.
Oh yeah. Well, we're like in my health coaching business, we have a model that we've been running for about 5 years, 4 to 5 years, and it's got a very low end front end, but we're upside down until we've never quite been able to self-liquidate it. We have during, say, we have a 5-day challenge, front end of the offer, and during the 5-day challenge we have VIP sales, and the VIP sales end up making us break even.
Right.
Almost 100% of the time, not always, but most of the time, except the freaky, wonky Facebook adness Meta has been employing as of recently. You just can't predict it because it's been really wild. But the point is that particular business then becomes profitable only on the 5th day, because but that's the beauty of the challenge model in general, and I won't go into the details of the challenge model right now, but is that you get to bring a customer that would normally have take a long time to warm up. You get to do it in a relatively short period of time. Sure. You condensing a lot of time, but in a condensed period of time. And so you get them through the know, like, and trust phase as fast as possible. So you're giving a lot at a low value,
right,
and spending ads to do so, and then trying to make it up on the back end as quickly as possible. But to your point, because it's not a subscription model, that means every prior challenge sets the budget for every future challenge.
Right.
Unless you really are just playing a risky game.
I mean,
which you can do.
it's a choice.
Well, the thing is if you're spending $10,000 in ads and you did a 2x ROAS, which is not it's a $1 in, $2 out, but all of a sudden, if that goes 1.5, you want to be like at least 3 times, maybe 4 times ROAS. Mm-hmm. Greater than that is even better, of course, but that is really key. And that's actually the reason why I'm so passionate about attention marketing and organic marketing as a whole, and getting people eyeballs onto their offers.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't cost you anything. It costs you a little bit of time, but it doesn't cost you tens of thousands, tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars every month to run it. And then if something breaks, like we spent the other day, you know this. Think about how scary this is. It wasn't that much money, but it felt like that much money because
it's painful.
A URL broke on us, and we spent $800 a day for 3 days, and didn't realize that because this same funnel had been running for 4 or 5 years. You just you turned it on, everything seemed to be good to begin with, and then boom, and we had changed hostings, and there was some mix up in the registers and things like that, and it just went bonkers. But that's $2,400. That's just bye bye. Just whew.
No backsies.
No backsies on that one.
There's no hey Meta, we
sent people to a broken link.
We threw them a broken link. Can I get a refund? Nope. That's your responsibility.
100%.
Right.
100%.
That's one of those things. So the other thing that shows up for me that is fascinating is I've had some pretty detailed conversations with some people in the e-com space.
Boom, boom, boom.
And they are very good at e-com. And one of the things that they mentioned to me is all good e-com brands have 4 products.
4 products.
4 products.
4 products.
And they generally have a lead product, right? It might not qualify for your most profitable.
Well,
right?
that's what I was going to get.
Right? Might not qualify for your most profitable. However, it does achieve a different goal.
Of course.
Which is, it's an easier yes.
Which is what I was talking about with the challenge, the $7
exactly.
model. Yes.
It's an easier yes. Mm-hmm. And so it gets people in the door, and then obviously there's upsells and other things like that. However, what it does is it gets them a customer that they can continue to market to.
That part. And
will likely buy other products that they have.
Exactly.
But I always found the 4 products very fascinating.
Well, I think that's particularly because you can go at it 2 different ways, right? So if I'm working with a private or a brick and mortar type store that's not online, that is a much more important question early on. Unless, and I mentioned this at the beginning, unless, those 2 questions that I talked about, what's your most popular item? What do you make the most money on? Because even if you don't lead in advertising with the most popular, the most profitable, you will want to lead with the most popular to get the easiest yes, and then position the most profitable from there.
Correct.
Once inside the store or inside the funnel or inside we just talked about the other day with someone about how that they had a lot of popular like $45 online courses. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And we negotiated an equity deal with her, and because I could easily see these are very popular, low-cost products that she can promote that would have a masterclass on the end of that sales process.
Correct.
That they could register for, that would lead to the offer she actually wanted to sell the most.
That's the most profitable.
that's definitely the most profitable.
Because sell the most could be subjective, potentially.
The one that raised revenue the most, the quickest, with the least amount of sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a better way to say it.
Yeah, but it's still the most profitable, not
But
necessarily.
we've talked about this before. This goes back to there's only 3 ways to make money in any business ever under any circumstance. You either get new people, more people in your door, on your website, on your order form. You get more people, or you get those people to spend more money when they're there.
Yep.
Right? Or you get those people to just order more often. And the subscription model is really more often standpoint.
In theory, you could kind of blend both of those.
Of course.
So it's really more people or spend more money.
Explain what you mean you can blend both.
Your second 2. You said 3. I'm saying in all reality, it's really 2. Because you either get fresh people or people you already have spend more money with you, period.
Yes, but I think it's necessary to break it into sections, into 3. The reason why is, let's say it's a cosmetic company. Okay. At a cosmetic company, you have the choice in the upsell. You could either get them on a subscription service, which is, okay, you're going to get this lipstick every 2 months because it's going to go down. You think of something like Mary Kay. Years ago, my mother, was, and her sisters was in Mary Kay.
Yep.
And one of their leader uplines was talking about one of the beautiful things about Mary Kay is it's a good product and then it's consumable.
Yes.
So then people need it more often. So even the distributors themselves, as they are selling to other people, are using it themselves.
Correct.
So the distributors become the customers, and so on and so forth.
Typically one of the benefits of MLM.
Yeah. So, but the issue is you could sell somebody, let's say, a skincare routine. Now, you could put them on a subscription model, or you could sell them a bundled product. I'm reminded of years ago a product called Organifi.
Okay.
It's a green drink. You've probably heard about it.
No.
Oh, really? It was a big thing. It was one of the stories.
I don't do green stuff.
Well, it was one of the stories that Russell used to build up click
Oh,
funnels.
yeah. Okay.
So, and
I do remember that because
Yes.
it was a supplement example.
it was a supplement. And so what they did, instead of putting people necessarily on a subscription, they had subscription models. But in the funnel process, it's like, hey, you bought this one, thanks so much. Would you like 3 more
of the same thing
for
less a better price?
For a better price, yeah. They're like, yeah, and they're like, well, if that works, why don't we just offer them 6 after that? Would you like 6 more? So there's like 12 coming. Or they might alter the flavors or something in the upsells. So what you're actually doing is you're trying to increase the amount of money at that particular visit.
Correct.
Or do you want fries with that? Do you want to make this a combo meal? Do you want an apple pie for $1 extra?
Yeah.
And so all of those are upsells for a particular purpose, not for a more often sale.
Okay.
Right? And so I do believe that there's a difference between because as you've mentioned many times, whatever you elevate as the target, it's going to change the way you move towards said product or target. And as you move, I'm going to say that again to make that clear. So once you set up a target, whatever that target is, you've now reoriented how you look at the data.
Correct.
Because you're trying to optimize to get to that target. So then therefore other things that would have jumped out as apparent if you picked this target would fall by the wayside by looking at this target. So if you're targeting to increase the order cart value of a particular process, get people to spend the most amount of money, then your mechanism for doing so will be different than it would be for optimizing for subscription-based.
Yes.
Right? Because you're going to try to make that subscription-based look as attractive as possible for the longest amount of time.
Yep.
With the minimal amount of investment to do so, because you're actually seeking to optimize the more often, right? Rather than the higher the ticket. Now, ideally,
You do both.
you do all 3.
Yes.
You're constantly getting new customers.
Yeah.
You're constantly getting the customers that you do have to spend more every single time they transact with you, and you're getting them to always transact with you more often.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do see the conflation of the two as being the goal ultimately.
Yeah.
But I believe it's important to separate it from the perspective of surgical systems design.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I was recognizing that they were awfully similar. And so...
Well, once you acquire the customer, there's two things to do with them, and you really want to optimize both, and there's ways to optimize both simultaneously, to your point.
Yeah. And so, in my head, in theory, there's actually only two, but then within those, there are more precise actions.
Yeah, it's just whether or not it's just whether or not you're optimizing for the most amount. Because, for example, I have a subscription service to this raw dairy farm for raw cheese, and for my kids, and
because it's illegal. I'm sorry. So this is a funny aside. So you can buy in Florida.
Yes.
You can buy raw dairy in the store.
Yeah.
But there's a caveat.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest thing. It's such a smoke and mirrors shenanigans as far as I'm concerned. So when you buy raw dairy in the store, that is primarily selling human products, and it is in the human product area, it says on the raw dairy explicitly for pet consumption, which is such shenanigans because we all know that 98% of the people that are buying the raw dairy at the store, I mean, they have all kinds of stuff: raw cottage cheese, raw sour cream, raw heavy cream. You're not buying that for your dog.
Yeah,
nobody's there's not 98% of them.
Well, you know,
and so it's this.
Yes,
it's the same as all the shenanigans with packaging of food in general.
Now,
which we should talk about
just
sometime,
for that would be fun. But just for clarity, you can do cheeses. They can sell raw cheeses as long as it's not. Well, they can market it as raw as long as it's not heated to over 120 degrees. Right.
I understand.
Yes. For the audience,
obviously,
clarity.
because Parmesan Reggiano, actual true Parmesan from Italy that qualifies is always raw cheese.
And that is sold in Sprouts and stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's sold everywhere.
So actually, that's what I'm talking about. So in this subscription model, I have this subscription where because I really like them because they only grass feed their cows. Yeah. And it's all up and legitimate and all this kind of stuff, which, so I have them ship it, but I have it on like every 2 months. Mm-hmm. Right. And one time my order was very expensive. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, that was a lot for cheese.
Some milk.
I was like, because I could have went to Sprouts and got like almost the same thing. Like really close, but it's harder to find A2 because I was looking for A2 specific.
Close.
So it was very and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to spend $372 again for that subscription. It's like I think I'll lower my subscription cost, right? And so, in some ways, particularly when dealing with products, and so because there's a difference between service for subscriptions for service versus subscription for products per se, because you're going to sacrifice some long-term sales, some often sales, you might say, for higher sales in the present. Mm-hmm. And personally, I typically, it depends, but I really like going ahead and getting the money now rather than later because there's never a guarantee that the later will come.
Sure.
And so it's always great to get the maximum now rather than later.
Of course.
But that was just another reason I wanted to mention it. But when it comes to these two questions, how would you think about those two questions particularly? Because for me, in your business, the way you have it right now, because you have a service business, what is your most profitable product or service versus the one you make the most money on?
My most profitable. My most profitable would be an unlimited of our group sessions.
Okay.
Obviously, because I can service more people.
So it doesn't have the same scaling problems that, say, the personal training does.
So we do offer personal training, which is one-on-one.
Which is a higher ticket, correct?
It costs significantly more.
Yes.
However, it's very constrained by time and trainers. Mm-hmm. So our other model is a group training, right? You can have up to 6 people in our smaller group, and then we have a limited amount of larger group, which we just count as a bonus. So when I'm selling people, they're only paying for the small group sessions. And then we bonus in at all tiers. They get unlimited of the large group sessions. Okay. But the reason for that is there's a limited amount of those, right? So we don't offer them in a wide variety of time slots, usually once or twice a day only. Gotcha. And so the constraint there is I don't want that model of the larger group, because then our pricing would go down, and those particular classes don't get people as good of results.
Yeah.
Right. They'll get you results, but typically a little bit more focused, a little bit more personalized, right? So when you have 5-6 people in a session, we are able to get you those connections with the trainers. The trainers are able to give you personal attention. And once you get that personal attention, you don't want to not get it anymore, right? And so that's why our LTV, or at least part of the reason I believe our LTV is so high, is because it's not just come to a Zumba class and the trainer may or may not know my name, right? The trainer knows each individual person.
So it gets the benefit of the personal training from the perspective of they know your name, they know what you're struggling with, they know kind of your vibe, and what your personality is.
All those
and they
things,
can adapt to those things.
And they can make adaptations.
But they're doing it to 5 or 6 people rather than per one. And you're building a community of those 5 or 6 people simultaneously.
The other thing that happens is typically people stick with a general time slot, right? Yeah. And so in general, you have these session times, right? So 5 a.m. is a popular one for some of our teachers and some of the people that go to work early. Well, they have their own micro community within that session.
Yes.
Right? So now you have your friends there, which holds you more accountable, because not only do you not want to miss a session for yourself, but you don't want to miss it for the trainer, and you don't want to miss it for your friends.
Yeah.
So now I have 3 things that tell you, man, I don't really feel like getting up today, but I need to get up today.
Which is actually a service that you're providing.
It is a service.
Now, most people would see that. Okay, let me say something right quick. I did a reel one time about marriage ceremonies.
Okay.
Okay, and this is related.
Okay.
So, most people don't like when they're invited to a wedding, they're not real crazy about having to get dressed up and go to a wedding. I think everyone should go to weddings if they're invited, for sure.
Okay.
And you should dress to the nines when you get there.
And get dressed up.
And get dressed to the nines. And there's a societal reason for this.
Okay.
Okay. So, and this will relate back to the gym and why it's a service. And so you're actually doing harm to society by not attending weddings. Here's the reason why.
Okay.
True story.
I believe you, but I'm ready for the explanation because it's going to be fun.
Yeah. You are doing harm. I'm just going to say it again to be clear. You are doing harm to society if you get invited to a wedding and don't go. Here's the reason why. We know by all the metrics of data that married couples end up bringing more to society than the opposite.
Okay.
Meaning that you have a more stable society as a whole for monogamous male and female marriages in the society.
Okay.
Wars are less based on that metric because when you have a polygamous society, for example, there's less men per women. Meaning that the men that are, because women choose mates based on a hierarchical placement in society.
Okay.
So Michael Jordan got all the females.
Sure.
You know, Wayne Gretzky got all the females.
Yeah.
You know, any king in any domain. And in a first world country, there's lots more domains. So it makes you be able to climb multiple social hierarchies to make yourself maximally attractive to find a mate. But once you pair up and you mate, and then you start producing children, now the shift is to provide and care for those children.
Okay.
Which leaves these other males to attract the other females because it's not a polygamous society.
Right.
Now, in a polygamous society, be like, okay, well, where's my second wife? Where's my third wife? Where's my seventh wife? Okay, so then
235th.
That's right. Pull out a King Solomon, right? And so the thing is, but then what does that do? That makes all the males that are not at that high not be. Where's the females?
They have zero.
They have zero, which means now they have to then rise hierarchy. So how are they going to do so? Well, they're going to try to take larger risks in order to win glory.
Mutiny.
Right? They win glory. They can win glory.
Yep.
And then they climb the social ranks. So they'll take greater risks. There's a reason why you see younger people willing to take greater risks in order to stand out, period.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that it makes them more attractive. I'm talking about young males specifically. Now, you see these parkour people that's jumping on the side of buildings. What are they doing?
Anyways.
But they're preparing to build both their physical prowess in order to attract a mate, and their mental, and their, from a language standpoint, that's the reason why they become witty and they'll be sarcastic and put each other down. It's like, what's wrong with you? And all those things are derivatives in some way of preparing to be attractive for a female.
Okay.
Now, bring that back to marriage.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned something about the gym. You said there's extra pressures that's happening. Now, earlier in the United States history, there was a social pressure to not get divorced. Mm-hmm. It was considered it put you lower in the minds of your peers. Mm-hmm. It was kind of rejected.
Okay. Oftentimes
in a way that wasn't useful, but in response to a woman not leaving her husband because she was beating him for fear of societal pressures. When people saw that, they were like, oh my goodness, yeah, that shouldn't be the case.
Right.
Let's let her escape, which seems perfectly reasonable. Now, on the flip side, by removing all negative societal repercussions for divorce, particularly from a societal pressure, not like a governmental punishment, what happens is people don't even care about getting married that much. Or if they do get married, they're like, well, it's just a piece of paper. Well, a piece of paper won't hold you like societal pressure will.
Correct.
And so what actually a marriage ceremony is actually the creating of a covenant between two people. Yes. And then you're inviting your friends and your family to come witness and put pressure on you for this. Because think about how terrible it is, even if you're dating someone and you bring them around the family and stuff, and then they leave. And then they leave, and then all of a sudden they're like, how's so-and-so? You're like, oh.
They're not. Please don't, let's not talk.
Exactly. So then the larger the community around you that's witnessing this union, suddenly now, when all your friends and family and all the people that are somewhat acquainted with you and all this great, larger, widening bubble of associations comes to witness and to watch you make this promise, you now
make the covenant.
Make the covenant. You now also, if you decide you're going to step out on this person or leave this person, you don't just have to deal with their feelings towards you, but all these other people's feelings towards you, which
Yep.
puts extra pressure on you because you know as well as I do, people suck. And our feelings will flip us. We won't feel like getting out of bed to go to the gym, but if you have a societal pressure around you, your gym partners are waiting on you, your friends are waiting on you, and your trainer is waiting on you.
Yep.
That pressure will get you off your stupid high horse of feelings, out of bed,
And get you in.
and get you in the gym, which is actually best for you.
Oh, by the way, you have to reserve the session as well. You can't just show up. There's 4.
Right? So and that's the reason why I liken it into a marriage ceremony in a sense. Right? Because you're reserving this time together. This is the promise. Everyone's coming. You're spending money, effort, all this. All those things create extra pressure. And so you're actually withholding that pressure from the associations of people that you know by not sharing in that communion and covenant with those two people. And you're stealing that away because they'll remember you being there. They'll remember you here. I'm so happy. I hope y'all do so good for your whole life, et cetera, et cetera. And then now the next time you're like, oh man, should I leave this person? Should I not leave that person? And then you walk through Walmart and someone sees you and they stop and they say, hey, how's your wife? How's your kids? It's like, now, maybe I was thinking about leaving her. Maybe I better not because look what I got to deal with now if I do that. I had an interesting guy, cardiologist one time that I met, and Fuzz was his name. And he told me Jesse was, young in marriage. We just had the restaurant, and we met him at a personal development seminar. And he told me on the phone, we were accountability partners. He said, one thing, I want to tell you something about marriage. He said, integrate your wife into all aspects of your life, in your business, in your exercise, in your religious areas, all areas. He said, because when you have a single cord, single strand, it's very easy to break a single strand. What you want is you want a rope. What is a rope? Nothing but a bunch of single strands that are twisted together, wrapped together. And so in an organized fashion. And it makes it so it's almost impossible to break a cord. And the reason why is because it's so integrated within each together.
Right.
And so it works the same idea is crafting a cord. And so for lifetime value of a customer, getting back to our talk, the best way to create lifetime value customer is to work a lot of strands together and associate it with your product and your service from a community standpoint so that it's harder to disassociate with that said product and that said service, which is also the reason why multi-level marketing often is so powerful because you're getting your friends and your family involved in this thing. Sure. And so everyone's grandmas is buying their products, whether they like the product or not, because they don't want to quit buying it from their granddaughter.
Right. Which is why people offer it to their family first, because it's the easiest.
It's the easiest.
So what about folks that are on marriage number 5? Do you still go to those weddings?
Should.
Okay. I'm just asking.
But usually what happens is you'll see.
They stop having ceremonies.
Why? For the same reason.
Because they're embarrassed.
Because they're embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till they just quit having ceremonies. For the same reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason they stop. Like, I've already done this a bunch of times. Right? And I'm not bagging or throwing stones at these people. I'm just saying as a general for society, it's better.
Yeah.
Because you're assisting in a very minute way. You're assisting as one of those little strands. And you don't know which of those strands. Because most people that has ever... I remember Jordan Peterson saying something one time. I heard him say, he said out of the however many people he's counseled in his clinical practice when he still was practicing as a clinician, he's never encountered anyone that had an extramarital affair or anything like that that didn't regard it as the largest mistake of their life.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that if they that it was almost a momentary brief insanity in a sense. And what do we have around us in society, in our friends, and I mean, iron sharpens iron. We as business partners catch each other in dumb stuff all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right? And we call each other out. And that calling out helps us to not do stupid stuff. And so the more... Perpetually, all the time.
Right. Because we're prone to do stupid stuff the time.
We're prone to do stupid stuff, which goes right back to this same idea. We're prone to do stupid stuff. And the more you realize that humans, we are prone to do stupid stuff, then guess what?
Especially boys.
Especially boys. Prone to do stupid stuff. And if you're prone to do stupid stuff, what is it? In the heart of a child is bound up foolishness. Right?
Yep.
And so what is a parent's job with a child? To keep them from doing stupid stuff that's going to kill them. What's your friends and your family? They're not supposed to placate you and be like, oh, it's okay that you're like 250 pounds overweight. It's okay. You're just big boned. Dumb. That's just dumb. That's not doing them any good at all.
Have you ever seen that picture? It's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
What?
I'm pretty sure it was Dan Henry that put it up. But they showed this X-ray of a dude that was normal size, and they X-rayed him and they showed the same X-ray, full body X-ray of some person, I'm assuming a dude as well, that was 250 pounds overweight. The skeletal structure is the exact same. Big bone is shenanigans. Exactly. The bone size is the same. It was like, ooh, that's not fun.
Right, but it makes people feel better. Right, and I'm not throwing stones at people that's overweight. That's not the point.
No, I'm not saying that you are. It was just when you said big boned, it made me think of that picture.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's one of those things that sounds good. It sounds good, and it's easy to attach yourself to as an excuse
because it alleviates the pressure and
it alleviates the societal pressure that should not be that way.
That's right.
You know what else I find very, very fascinating?
Fascinating.
Very fascinating. Coming back to the obesity thing, I find it very fascinating that in ancient world, right? Go to Greek. Let's do Greek. All their statues are of statues of men, statues of women, are of very slender, muscular people. Mm-hmm. Why?
Because that's ideal.
Shh, don't say that. You'll get canceled.
Well,
but it's a weird thing to think about. Well, if you look at the the Statue of David or any of those famous statues, those dudes are all jacked and ripped.
They look awesome.
They are not like.
They look.
There's
awesome.
no dad bod. There's not like a little bit of. There's not the little donut or
because
spare tire.
Even if that existed, it wasn't the ideal. Because they would have carved the ideal.
Right.
Because when you set to make something the most beautiful you can, that's how you do it. And we judge beauty based on symmetry. We mm-hmm. judge beauty based on health as well. And so we know that obesity causes, we did work for midwives, got them something like 18 million views in 90 days. And it was already in them. Their talent was already in them. We just mm-hmm. needed to draw it out. And we did that. And one of the things I learned was just how detrimental obesity is to birthing. Mm-hmm. Just how much more probable
how much extra strain you put on stuff.
Well, on your blood supply. Because the amount of extra blood has to run through. Like, if you're already hypertensive, meaning have high blood pressure or borderline high blood pressure, And then all of a sudden, and then so they call it preeclampsia, and all these women are having preeclampsia. But what it is actually most of the time a lot of extra weight that their body is holding on to, which is causing it to have to work that much harder than the strain of having to grow a whole human. Puts it over the edge and makes it actually dangerous. And so that's a medically verifiable observation. It's not me throwing stones or bashing on people that are overweight. I could lose a few pounds myself. That's not the point. But I don't like that I have an extra 15 to probably about 20 pounds that I really need to get rid of. To really, then you see my six pack, all this kind of stuff. About 20 extra pounds. And I would much prefer it if I licked those extra 20 pounds. I would much prefer it.
Yeah.
And it will take a decision for me to do that that to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not mad if someone has chosen to get rid of that extra 20 pounds and has a six-pack. In fact...
Got a little bit of envy. So I want to adapt my behavior to match. Yeah.
Because there's two ways to respond to the world when you see your ideal. Two ways to respond to an ideal. This is in business. This is in health. This is in relationships. In spirituality. You see someone achieving something, you see someone achieving something. You see someone that has the results in an area that you don't have. You either respond Cain or Abel. So Abel is the ideal in the story. Abel makes a sacrifice that God deems worthy. We could rationalize and talk about and discuss theologically why that was the case. Take that off the table for right now. What is happening at an objective, generalized level? They're both making sacrifices. They're both doing things. They're both working hard. One of them is accepted by God. One of them is not. And this is not a salvation issue. This is not some kind of soteriology that I'm making an assertion on. What I'm trying to do right now is point out that there's two people. And then God says, look, your little brother is doing things right. If you already know that you could do that too. Come on, son, let's get to work and do it. Adapt your behavior to the ideal because Abel had achieved that which Cain wanted to achieve.
Right.
God then says, if you don't do that though, bad things going to happen. So he decides to play the victim. And he decides to crucify his ideal. Well, that's dumb. So he gets rid of the ideal, which is the very blueprint for how to get there. And that's exactly what the average person does. If their business is not successful, that's exactly what they typically do. They look at someone successful, and I look at them. Right? Same thing.
Instead of trying to glean the ideas.
Instead of trying to figure out, I'll never forget. First personal development seminar that I went to, that I paid money to go to, was in my restaurant. And the restaurant was doing crappy at the time. I mean, it was doing crappy. And I was pissed. And I had
needed enough pain.
Yeah. And I was like, and I had seen this webinar to join. So I joined this webinar, how to be business successful. And I was like, ready for it. We hadn't had any clients. I mean, we've had a few tables, but nothing like what we needed. Sure. Upside down on overhead, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get on this. Had like a 5-gallon bucket of something. And I was in my office. I'll get to the 5-gallon bucket in a second. I was in my office, and which was also a party room. So I had this big long table, but we didn't use the party room that often.
Right.
And so I was sitting there. Me and my wife was going to watch this webinar. We were going to help our business. We were so excited. So we get there. And then like 5 minutes before the webinar starts, guess what?
Bunch of people show up.
Yeah.
Never happens at that time on any other day.
It was like a random Tuesday or something, and they need that room. I'm like, oh, man. I was mad about it, which is dumb actually, because I literally needed sales.
Right.
But like I was so blinded by wanting this to happen that I was like, I was pissed off that I had customers. That's stupid looking back, but because that's the whole reason I wanted to be on the webinar in the first place.
I need more customers. I can't believe all these new customers I just acquired are kicking me out of the room that I was going to watch the webinar on how to do this.
Exactly. It was like Kane syndrome. Mm-hmm. And so I was mad about the whole situation and my lot in it, right? As a victim, I was so poor piddly me. I got customers that I was praying for. Duh. Right? Like stupid. Anyway. Stupid. So I'm like mad. So Jesse goes, I'm like, I ain't helping. We got a bunch of employees back there that we've been paying all this time, not having to do nothing. They can handle this one small party of 8 or whatever it was. And Jesse was like, well, I'm going to go back there. I'm like, well, I'm getting on this webinar.
Do whatever you want.
And so I go to this little bitty nook, which had a lot of shelves in it. It was a very small room. Probably once upon a time was a closet. Like I had to put shelves in it.
Yeah.
And got this 5-gallon bucket, put it on there, sat down, got a big 50-pound sack of sugar, set it down, put my laptop on it. It's like, I'm going to listen to this webinar.
No matter what.
Yeah. And you know what he said on it? I'll never forget this. He said, you can look around at people in your town doing the exact same business you're doing, being more successful than you.
Okay.
Well, what are they doing that you're not?
Exactly.
What are they doing that you're not? Oh, man. Psh, right? Bleeding out. Right? And I was like, oh, my goodness. It's a me problem. It was the first time I really realized. Like, oh, okay. Shoot. Why am I playing the pity party in my mind, right? Oh, why is everybody going to that place?
You reserved a big table for it,
right?
Sorry.
So the point is the reason why I come at these issues so strong, like obesity, like business stuff, like political issues. It doesn't matter what it is. Like almost always at the ground level, when people end up having a problem, they end up usually, if they're not in alignment with what they ought to be doing, they're going to be judged by their ideal, whether their ideal is trying to judge them or not, because an ideal by itself is a judgment to where you are, because it's a clear image of what you could have
what you could be.
What you could be or could have been, depending on the situation. And so looking at the time frame, looking at David, the statue of David, you're like, wow, that is amazing. And that is the ideal. It's like, man, I wish I looked like that. Right? Well, you probably could or could have at least one point in time. And so that judges you at some level. And you can have one or two reactions to it. You can either say, oh, man, I need to get to work. I need to yield and crucify parts of myself and get rid of them and adjust my behavior to figure out what I need to do. I need to pay somebody, a personal trainer, right? I need to go to a gym. I need to find things because I have not got all the answers. And that really was probably the moment that it really set me on this whole business, entrepreneurial, personal development, political business that I do.
They're all rolled into the same.
They're all rolled into kind of this, like, oh my gosh, I suck so bad. I need to understand, or I don't understand that. I need to understand that better. Or I suck at that in business. I got to get better in business. So I went on a fury. I probably spent, over the whole time, probably $350,000 on skill sets, period.
Yeah.
Online courses, different things, over the course of the next, 12, 14 years. And doing a lot of experimenting, a lot of failing, and a lot of success too at the same time. And it's feast or famine in a lot of ways. It has been for me in many ways. I've had some really great wins selling mattresses out in the middle of COVID, to bring that story back to the forefront. Right. And 18 million views, for people. And sending out emails for Myron,
Oh, yeah,
40
yeah,
grand,
yeah, yeah.
40 grand an email, send out an email, 40 grand, what?
Right.
And all because we went to this out of this world restaurant and there's an alien picture. I was like, Myron, you better I need you to stand right here and hold this menu in your hand next to this alien. This is going to make us some money, right? Because it's about tension. And so the amount of things that I think what bugs me as much or more than anything else is seeing the potential in people and then refusing to not just see it, but to assume that the world is against them and that's the reason why they have a problem. Of course, the world, there's all kinds, Satan's against you, everybody, there's all kinds of things against you, but that's always been the case. That's never been not the case.
They're going to show up no matter what.
They're going to show up no matter what. And you've got more tenacity than you realize, but you got to go to work. I remember having a conversation with one of my employees one time, and he had so much potential. This was back years ago. And I was like, listen. He's like, why do you read so much? I said, because I'm dumb. He's like, you're no, I'm dumb. You just don't understand. You don't understand. No. I only appear smart.
In contrast.
In contrast to something else. I'm dumb. And I know I'm dumb. And this person achieved these things. I need to know what they knew, not what I know now.
Correct.
And then maybe I can take a few steps forward. And it was wild. It was wild to him. I was like, do you understand this person? I may have been listening to Sam Walton's book or something at the time. I don't remember exactly, but I said, you got to think about it. It was something like that. I said, you got to think about it. This person lived 70 years, 80 years, whatever it was, and they spent their whole life winning and losing. And at the end of their life, they gathered up all the things that they wanted and showed all the warnings of things that led them down crappy pathways. Mm-hmm. If I can, in a few, like a day's time, 2 days, 3 days, even a week's time, get through a book about all that, then I just assimilated 70 years of do's and don'ts.
Yep.
Into 1 week.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you do that?
For sure.
That's insanity.
Yeah. So one thing that I find fascinating.
Knowledge. I don't know if you've ever seen the old Ty Lopez movie. He had an ad years ago, Ty Lopez, that is knowledge. I'm here in my Lamborghini, and I just bought this Lamborghini I just installed, but what I care more about is knowledge. And like it was a huge, like big internet meme thing that happened. I'll show it to you sometimes. It's funny.
I'll check it out.
But it's true. That part is true, though.
It is.
It's true.
It's very true. So one of the things I find fascinating about that whole conversation is the effort on both sides is high. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So I watched this documentary.
Define the both sides. I want to know what you're talking about, both sides. I don't know.
The person winning and the person not winning.
Gotcha.
Right? So the person that has wealth and the person that's poor, the person that's in is supermodel status for how they look, and the person that's not there, right? The effort on each side is still high.
Of course.
And tangibly high. So I'll explain what I mean. And I see it show up in all these different arenas, but when we were talking about the obesity thing, this is the story that popped into my head. So I watched a documentary years ago. It's called The Iron Cowboy. I don't remember the guy's actual name. Have you ever seen it? Oh, so good. This guy's crazy. So in The Iron Cowboy, it's basically a vlog of what this guy did. Was he, you know what an Ironman is? Mm-hmm. Right? So what is it, 2 mile swim, marathon.
I think, and then like a 5 mile back ride, I think, or something like that.
It's like 50.
Oh, is it?
Or no, it's 100 and some mile.
It's
bike
long.
Ride.
I know it's long.
So anyways, Ironman is a very, very strenuous.
You run, swim, bike.
You swim, run, bike.
Oh, in that order?
No, swim, bike, run. It's like a triathlon. You finish with the running. You definitely swim first.
Okay.
Regardless, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's swim, bike, run.
Okay.
Anyways, so in this, he decides to do something wild. And so he documents the whole thing. He decides he's going to do 50 Ironmans in 50 days, in every state.
I have seen this.
You've seen them. Have you seen it?
So I don't remember if I watched
You've
the whole
probably
thing
seen
or not.
some of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so in this whole thing, there's one particular clip because he's basically promoting people to do something hard, right? And it's not equal across the board. And his example is this. Throughout this whole thing, his heart rate for most of it is 140 beats a minute. That's kind of his target spot. He wants to be right in that range. His mother is very overweight, not in good shape. And his comparison was, if she goes for a walk, her heart rate goes to 140 just walking, right? So the effort is the same. Yes. He has wildly different results, but the effort is the same at that level. Yes. The same could be said of a rich person and a poor person.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
The effort to obtain wealth is similar to the effort that it requires to be poor. Or
sometimes the effort to be poor,
to come out of poor is
greater.
To come out of it is going to require more effort. But once you get over here, the effort's going to be the same. Mm-hmm. It's so wild. And it happens in all kinds of domains. The effort to spend time with God is the same effort to not, to distract yourself. You have the opportunity, right? There's a choice. There's a binary choice. Yeah. I'm going to watch silly cat videos, or I'm going to read a chapter of my Bible.
100%.
Right?
I fought that this morning myself.
We all do. Yeah. It's easy to...
Not the cat video part. But...
But...
Same difference.
It still shows up.
Yeah.
Right? I sit down and read my Bible every morning, and every morning I go up, I have to make the choice to take my phone and not have it with me when I sit down in the chair that I'm going to read my Bible. Because if I sit down and it's within reach, I might get distracted.
Oh, yeah. It's easy.
And it might start with good intentions.
Looking up a word.
To look up a word. Yeah. But then for whatever reason, because I'm easily distracted or whatever it is, I might venture into some other thing. And then 30 minutes go by, and I've read not what I intended to read, and I wasted a bunch of time. Mm-hmm. But I still made the choice. Mm-hmm. And mostly, I'm reading something. So the effort is the same. I was still reading. Not reading what I ought read, but I was reading. Mm-hmm. Or not what I set out to read. And so most of the time, the effort's the same. Now, it takes extra effort to build the habit to set the phone way out of reach. Mm-hmm. But if you preload that decision, you have a nice comfy spot for your phone, then you remove the distraction, right? But it was just, as you were going through those examples, I was like, man, these things happen anyway.
They do.
Right? Like to think about the fact that someone overweight is walking and their heart rate is what
oh my gosh,
it's
so much harder for them to walk.
It is at a rate that takes me doing a strenuous physical exercise. I know. Is scary to me. So that means They work harder all day than I do most of the time.
All the time.
All the time. I work hard in bursts, right? To maintain something or to continue to improve something, because maintenance is kind of a fake idea. Because there is no such thing.
Not really.
Not really. It's either growing or dying. And physics tells us this. Law of entropy. As soon as it stops getting used, it starts dying. It starts decaying.
Yeah.
And so that's really where the choice is. Anyways, that was an aside, but it all kind of triggered off of the things you were saying.
But no, it's true. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's scary to think a lot of those people are working really, really hard all day long.
Well, that just goes to show you that the hardness is not always the thing.
No.
In fact, I often have wondered in that story of Cain and Abel that Cain wasn't working harder.
I bet he was.
Because if you think about it, because I've noticed, this doesn't say it in the text. This is just me inferring it. Okay, but in the text it says that, so he goes, they're both in the field together after Cain has his conversation with God. They go back to the field. Mm-hmm. And so I often imagine maybe Cain going to talk to his brother.
Yeah.
Perhaps even maybe with slight good intentions. Maybe, I don't know. But here's the deal. But he may see him because no matter where we're at, sometimes the grass is greener somewhere else. So you can imagine tilling the ground, right? So like he's digging, he's sweating to like plant these seeds. He's pulling weeds. He's doing this stuff. And then I just imagine him looking up because they're both in the field. And he looks up and like Abel is like got his little curved shepherd stuff. And he's
got a shepherd's hook.
Yeah. And he's like leaned off on a tree in the shade.
Or just walking.
Or like petting the sheep or something. It's like, he's got it so easy. Right now, he didn't see him maybe the night before having to fight off a lion or something.
Or some wolves.
Yeah, but, I mean, maybe not. But the point is it would be so, it's not a good assumption to believe that Abel was working harder. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the text that Abel was working harder. It was that
he was in alignment.
And Cain wasn't. And I think
alignment is everything.
Well, it is, and it's also alignment in everything, because if he's offering to God, so what are you doing in business? You're offering to your customers in a sense, like you're offering this thing. Okay, now. If I've mentioned this before, you've heard me say this. If working hard doesn't earn you money, sometimes earning money requires working hard. Sometimes it doesn't. So, for example, if I go to my neighbor's yard and all night long dig a hole in their yard, and I work so hard at that, and then they wake up in the morning, and then I knock on the door in the morning, say, "Look what I just did. I worked really, really hard. Will you pay me some money?" They'd say, "No, you're going to pay to get someone to fill in that hole, and you're going to pay to make sure that someone puts grass back in my yard.
And you're going to pay to get out of jail."
And you're going to pay to get out of jail because I did not want a hole in my yard. But I worked hard. So what? It was not what I desired, right? And so it depends on who you're offering to.
It's extra hard here. Y'all got lots of rocks in the ground.
Nuts.
Hardest digging I've ever done is here.
It really is. I grew up digging that.
I've dug holes in lots of places. Definitely the hardest holes to dig.
Hardest holes to dig, man. There's rocks constantly.
Everywhere. And they're not tiny.
They're not. My dad's always want to do landscaping. My whole life I've dug holes. Landscaping. I'm sorry. Nursery work.
I hope you at least have like a pickaxe or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only way.
Oh, you know what Dad does?
Maddox.
Dad makes big tampon rods. So,
tampon rods.
That's what he called them. I don't know if that's the real name.
Okay.
But he'd get them out of cars. Like a big, long, about this big, just iron, just heavy, man. And he'd get it, and so when you break up the rocks, yeah, basically. But he would break up the rocks like that. So after you get so, and then all of a sudden you find a rock is as big as the hole. Then the next thing is you get the tamping rod, and you get it, and you just throw it at it until you break it into pieces.
Okay.
Because he would flatten one side of it, so it'd
Yeah.
be like a little wedge, and just toss it.
That's called a pry bar.
Well, yeah, but he called it tamping rod.
I realize that Tennessee makes up their own terms for everything.
Tamping
But
rod.
it's a spud bar. That's what it is. If you want to go buy a spud bar, you can buy a spud bar.
Yeah, but in Tennessee, we get them out of cars
I
and make our own.
I realize that the whole point is not for tamping, it's for prying
You're in
stuff out.
hillbilly land now.
I realize where I'm at. Y'all got buggies and all the other stuff.
Buggies. So what do y'all call? Y'all call it buggy or shopping cart? That's what Zach calls it. His hand does like that too, just so you know. Every time he says shopping cart, it goes up like that. That's what he does. But I say buggy.
It's a shopping cart.
I just made up the hand thing, by the way. So
I don't know if my hand ever does that.
No, I was just...
I'm trying to think if there's any time that my theatrics would need my hand to do this. Unless I'm doing some fake karate acting or something like that.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've hit that's fascinating. But you know what I wanted to cover today, but we didn't, or I thought about it, is going through the levels of awareness. Because when you ask those two questions, about the two questions we started with, what is your most, before you do ads, before you do anything, before you start promoting, what is your most popular product or service? What is your most profitable product or service? Then the next question is, what level of awareness is the customers that you're about to advertise to? Mm-hmm. Because the most money is in an unaware audience that doesn't know they need it. And so a lot of people doesn't understand that their most popular product doesn't have to be their most popular product. It could just be that their most profitable product can become their most popular product with some added levels of awareness that the current clients don't know or future clients don't know about it. And so it's simply a shift in the way you speak about said product or service, which can radically make a difference. And so I have a friend of mine that, and I'll say this real quick and then we'll pick back up on it hopefully next week, but sometimes we jump ship and do something else, so I want to make sure I get this out. So he's an HVAC guy. Mm-hmm. He makes the most amount of money when he puts in a new HVAC system.
Sure.
And the new HVAC system is also one of the easiest things to do.
Of course.
Unless he's having to reduct everything. But usually it's just a replacement.
Yeah, it's just to replace the unit that's doing the work.
Exactly. And so, and that always has to be done and accomplished. And so, but then most of his call orders are not that.
Of course.
Most of them are checking to see, putting a capacitor on, looking at the thermostat, checking to see if there's freon leaks. And, you know, I was thinking about from his perspective, and there's a give and take to it. So in his business, he almost wants to maintain those small little fees to keep track of it, not because it makes him that much money necessarily, but not that it's bad, but it maintains the relationship so that when it does go out, guess who they call? Him. And so, but if I was going to advertise for him, I would advertise new stuff. I would not advertise his service ability, because that's the thing he has the most cap on time, because he's a one-man show.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to make advertising good for him, we would want to make sure we pick the thing that's most profitable. And then we would pick an offer language that would make that desirable to someone that doesn't have a guy that's their guy. Right. Then he can become their guy from that point forward. But you don't want to do it opposite. Right. You don't want to try to get into the service and then you can, but not. I would not advertise for it. Right, because you never know when that's going to happen, and so that level of awareness where you're at. Because we was talking to Jackie, you know, and I think I can say that because nobody's going to know who that is. But I mean, I guess they do. She got a lot of followers, but so we were talking to her, and what I was thinking about when we were talking with her specifically, because we hadn't done a debrief really.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was thinking about is there's so many people that aren't aware that they would want to become an etiquette consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're unaware that even if the offer shows up in front of them, it's like, why would I want to do that?
Right.
But if they first experience a change in their life,
Mm-hmm.
like a radical change in their life because of setting up certain boundaries, they get a job promotion, or they
don't get a job promotion.
I'm saying because of the etiquette course, they get a job promotion, or they get an interview that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise because they've adjusted their behavior.
Yep.
She taught them how to do that. They're like, oh my gosh, this changed my life more than any other thing I have. Then they hear would you like to build a business by teaching people this? We have a shortage of consultants. We need some. Then suddenly they're open to it. And so an unaware audience has become an aware audience for that particular desire.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen until first they experienced the transformation of said thing. Right. The number of people, that's how referrals happen in general. The number of people that's sent people, we've had people go to the Red Line Challenge through cousins and nieces and nephews and peoples that go to the church after they've lost 8 pounds, 16 pounds, 24 pounds, 32 pounds, 165 pounds. Then people's like, what have you been doing? They're like, oh, I've been doing this thing. It was great. And because had they heard the message by this weight loss program, they'd be like, yeah, so what? I've seen it 1,000. But then once someone that they know,
Of course,
has experienced it, they're like, ooh, yay, wonderful. Well, that made an unaware audience.
Best customers we get at the gym, by far.
Exactly, 100%, same thing, right? So the reason why word of mouth, or people say, oh, I just do word of mouth. Well, that's just testimonial marketing.
Yeah.
Word of mouth marketing is testimonial marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because some people, but I've seen a lot of people oftentimes like, yeah, I don't do no marketing, I just do all word of mouth. It's like, you do marketing. You just don't know it.
You just let your customers do it for you.
And you just...
And you hope for the best.
Yeah.
It's just unintentional.
I
mean, it's intentional in the fact that you provide a high level of service.
Yeah, your reputation's good. All
and
that
you have good reputation. However, past that, you hope for the best.
That's right. And so, when we work with people specifically, I think, and as we do this, we're going to have to get more and more specific about, are we working on the customer acquisition side to a system they already built, or are we
doing both?
Doing the system and they already have customers that's flowing in that we're adapting to, or if we're doing both specifically, which are all very unique, different things.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And so it's the reason why our equity deal with the fitness person was so much higher, because we're having to do both. All of it.
Yes.
Right. So, but it's going to be worth it. So, for both us and her.
For all parties.
For all parties. And their customers. And their customers, big time. Like, setting up systems and stuff for customers makes the customer experience so much better.
Yeah.
So.
Have a better experience, get better results.
That's fascinating.